My name is Kathy Rimmer, Court Reporter, Texas CSR number 519. I am administering the oath and reporting the deposition remotely by stenographic means from my residence within the state of Texas. My business address is 16414 San Pedro, Suite 900, San Antonio, Texas. The witness has been identified to me through attestation of counsel. Would counsel please state their appearances and locations for the record, beginning with counsel for the plaintiff?
Sure. Davis Chapman, counsel for the plaintiffs. I'm in Fort Worth, Texas.
Angela Nix, counsel for Richard and Sonia Galvan, Brownsville, Texas.
Would you raise your right hand, please, Mr. Galvan? Do you swear or affirm the testimony which you will give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. You may proceed.
All right. State your name for the record, sir.
Richard Galvan.
All right. Mr. Galvan, you know, I'm Davis Chapman. We have seen each other on a video conference recently, correct? At the hearing on the non-suits and such forth.
That's correct.
Okay. We have never conversed that I'm aware of. Is that correct?
You and I, no, sir. Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Am I correct in thinking that you have given deposition testimony before, sometime in the past?
That is correct.
Okay. It may have been a while. Let me just go over kind of some basic predicate for this. We are doing this via Zoom by agreement and by the judge's order and by the Texas Supreme Court's emergency orders. So we're all appearing to each other on computer screens, but this deposition has the same force and effect as if we were all in the room like we would be traditionally with a court reporter. I'm going to ask you questions and you're going to try to give me answers. The court reporter, even though we're recording this via video, it's very difficult for her stenographically to take down two people talking at one time. So I'm going to try to make sure I do my best to let you finish your answers before I start a question. I'd ask for you to do the same thing with me. Let me finish my question before you start your answer. There most likely will be many times when you know the question I'm trying to get to before I finish talking, but for the court reporter's record, we need to have a clear one person speaking at a time pattern. If you don't understand my question, Mr. Galvan, please let me know and I'll try to rephrase it so that you do. If you need to take a break at any time, just let me know. I'm only going to ask that you finish the question that I have out there before we take our break. But if you don't ask to take breaks, I typically in these will, ask the court reporter to go off the record and take a short, 5-minute break every hour and 15 minutes, hour and 20 minutes. Let us all stretch our legs. Unlike big conference rooms, I don't know what kind of chairs everybody's in, but mine's okay. But sometimes you do these video things and people get crammed into different spots. So I think it's good to do that. I'll be showing you documents some point through the Zoom app on the screen and ask questions about that. What I will do is I will identify them as exhibit numbers, and then at some time during the next break, whatever exhibits we have been talking about, I will save as the exhibit number that I identified, and I'll send that out to everybody, and likely email it as well. Ms. Rimmer, could you give me your email address so I can email you things directly?
Yes, sir. It is CLRIMMER@yahoo.com.
CLRimmer@yahoo.com.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you. All right. You have any questions so far, Mr. Galvan?
No.
Okay. All right. Another slight complication with this is that Zoom has all this wonderful technology for us to share and record, to see the videos and see each other from thousands of miles away. I've done several of these and not had too many slowdowns where the thing hangs up. If I hang up while I'm talking to you, please let me know as best you can. and we'll try to start over so we have a clear video. Additionally, Zoom has a chat feature, and it may allow one or more of the participants to send you private messages while we're on this deposition. I'm going to ask you to notify me, Mr. Galvan, if anybody sends you a private message while I'm asking you questions.
Okay,
You understand that, sir?
yes.
Okay. Who is in the room with you other than Miss Nix, Mr. Galvan?
Sonia Galvan.
Okay. I think it's technically probably, if impossible, probably to get all three of you on camera. I would ask Mrs. Galvan, to the extent she can hear me, not to. You don't have to stay there, Mrs. Galvan. I'm going to ask that I'm taking his deposition today, and I think you're set for tomorrow. In a typical deposition setting, you're allowed to attend as a party, but you wouldn't be mic'd up for his deposition. And I'm just going to ask that you don't jump in and offer any advice for him to how to answer the questions. I'm gonna ask you to rely on the honor system, that you're not over there holding up signs or waving your arms or nodding or whatever. Just let him answer the questions, and we'll get to yours tomorrow. Is that okay, ma'am?
Yes, sir. That's good.
Okay, thank you. You can sit back down. Okay, Mr. Galvan, with all of that out of the way, what did you do in preparation for attending your deposition here today?
I went over some documents that I had in regards to the case. Tried to get a good night's sleep, woke up, and came and set up for today.
Okay. Can you tell me what documents you reviewed in preparation for your deposition today?
I reviewed the what is it called? The request for I think it was a request for discovery.
Okay. If I say written discovery, do you understand that what I'm talking about, sir?
I believe so, yes.
That's where I've asked for. There are requests where I ask for documents called requests for production. There are what are called interrogatories, which are questions that you write out answers to, and I know that you've done that. And then there are requests for admissions asking you to admit or deny. Are those the documents you're talking about in this category?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. What else? What other documents did you review in preparation for your deposition today?
That's about it.
That's about it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you review any of the lawsuit pleadings that you have filed in this case?
No.
Okay. You didn't review your petition?
I reviewed my affidavit.
Okay. Have you reviewed both of the affidavits that have been filed in this case?
Yes.
Okay. Did you review your wife Sonia's affidavits?
No, not in its entirety.
Did you review? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just focusing on mine.
Okay. Did you review any of the motions that have been filed by the lawyers in this case?
No, sir.
Okay. Did you review any of the materials filed at the Court of Appeals, including the Court of Appeals written opinion in this case?
No, sir.
Okay. Have you reviewed any journals or notes that you've kept about this case?
No, sir.
Okay. Have you kept any journals or notes about this case? And I'm not talking about communications with your lawyers.
No.
Okay. Did you have any conversations with anyone in preparing for your deposition here today?
Talk to my attorney.
Okay. I don't want to know anything that you talked about with any of the attorneys that you've had in this case. So to the extent that I slip up and ask a question that might include a conversation with the attorney, I don't want you to tell me that. That's privileged, and I certainly I will try to ask the questions in such a way that avoids that. But I want you to know ahead of time that I'm not asking about what you talked about confidentially with your attorney. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay. Did you review any emails in preparation for your deposition today?
Just the one that was sent out for today's meeting from from KTA.
Okay, very good. Do you have an idea, rough idea as to how long you spent preparing for your deposition today?
I don't.
Okay. Is it more than an hour?
I'm not sure, sir.
Okay. Was it all day yesterday?
Again, I don't have a exact estimate or time.
Okay. All right. I asked you your name, but go ahead, Mr. Galvan, go ahead and give me your full name. I don't think I ever got a middle name for you.
Richard Edward Galvan.
Okay. Are you a junior or a senior or a third or anything like that?
Nope, that's it.
Okay. What is your driver's license number, Mr. Galvan, if you know?
I don't know it.
Is that something you can locate and provide to counsel to provide to me at a later date?
Yes,
Okay. Do you know your social security number off the top of your head?
I do not.
Okay. Can you also locate that and provide that to counsel for me?
Objection form with the exception of the last 3 digits.
Okay. Mr. Galvan, have you gone in your lifetime? Well, what's your date of birth?
July 17th in 1969.
You're about to be 51, is that right?
I am 50 right now. Yes.
Okay. During your lifetime, Mr. Galvan, have you gone by any other names?
No.
Okay. Where did you grow up, Mr. Galvan?
What do you mean by grow up, sir?
What town, what part of the world, what town did you grow up in?
To grow up to what age?
Well,
Can you be more specific?
sure. From 0 to 5. Well, where were you born? Let's start with that.
Born in Douglas, Michigan.
Okay. How long did you live in Douglas, Michigan?
I think to either the 1st or 2nd grade.
Okay. Where did you move to after that?
Moved to Houston.
Okay. You remember how old you were? 2nd grade, you said?
It's either 1st or 2nd grade.
And how long did you stay in Houston?
Till I graduated, till 1987. 1988, roughly.
Is that when you graduated from high school, give or take?
87.
Okay. And then sometime between 87 and now, you relocated to Harlingen and or Brownsville and or Mercedes, correct?
That's correct.
When did you move to that area of Texas?
In 1999, I think. Maybe 98, roughly.
Where did you go to high school?
I went to St. Thomas High School in Houston and Bel Air High School in Houston.
Okay. Did you graduate from high school?
Yes.
Okay. Which high school did you graduate from?
Actually, I had to get my GED in the summer of 1987.
Okay. Why was that?
Oh, because my transferred, from what I understand and what I can recollect, from a private school to a public school didn't have all the credits. So I wasn't able to finish the time.
Okay. St. Thomas being the private school and Bel Air being a public school, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. After you graduated high school, did you go off to college somewhere?
I went to college in American for 6 months to play baseball, and then I was there for a semester, and then I went to Texas Southmost College for 2 years to play and attended that school.
You hung up on me there for the very first part of that answer. Where did you go to play baseball initially?
I went to University of Texas Pan American in Edinburgh
Gotcha.
to try to make the baseball team.
Gotcha. And then the second institution you went to was, could you refresh my?
Texas Southmost College
Okay. Where's that located?
in Brownsville.
Okay. Did you graduate from college, sir?
No, I didn't.
Okay. What did you study in college? Was there a particular major that you had?
I was studying international business.
What was the last year that you attended college?
I guess it was my 1993 or so, 92 maybe.
Okay. And after you stopped attending college, did you then leave and become employed somewhere?
I was working while in college as well, and worked while I was not in college.
Okay. What job did you have in college?
I was washing cars for a rental company, and also doing some collections for a auto dealership.
Okay. What was the first full-time job you had after you left college?
Wow. I'd wash cars most of the day. So, but I guess my first full-time job was working for the car rental company.
Okay. Which company was that?
Montgomery Ward Auto Rent.
Okay. And that, what city was that in?
Austin.
Okay. And do you remember the years that you did that?
I don't.
Okay. Okay. How long did you live in Austin, just in general?
I think till 1999 or 1998.
Okay. What all jobs did you have while you lived in Austin?
Let's see, working for Montgomery Ward Auto Rent. I worked for a guy that sold plants. I did that. I worked for a company that sold parts to manufacturing company.
Remember the name of that business?
I don't. I worked in the warehouse. Then I worked for a company called Texas Student Guaranteed Loan Corporation. And I was, and then I worked for a Mercedes dealership doing some collections in Austin. And then I worked for Dell Computer Corporation.
Is Dell Computer the last job you had living in Austin?
Yes.
Okay. What years did you work at Dell?
Either 94 or 93 to about 2002 or 3.
So about 7 or 8 years, correct?
Could have been a little bit more. I think it was closer to 9 or 10.
What did you start at when you started working for Dell? What position did you start at?
I was in inside sales rep.
Okay. And if you could walk me through from when you started as this inside sales rep at Dell, the positions you held there over the intervening, 8 years or slightly longer.
I was an inside sales rep for a number of years. I don't recall. And then I became a account executive. And at the end of my time with Dell, I was a regional account manager.
Is that a sales position?
Sales and operations.
Okay. Did you obtain any technical certifications or licenses while you were at Dell?
No.
Okay. As we sit here today, do you have any technical certifications or licenses?
No.
You left Dell Computer as a regional account executive. What job did you take after that?
After that, I worked for a company called Future Electronics out of Montreal, Canada.
Okay. How long did that last?
Maybe 12 months.
Okay. Where was that job located?
In well, their corporate office was in Montreal. At that time in it was located here in the Rio Grande Valley.
Okay. So did you move from Austin to the Rio Grande Valley for that job?
No.
Okay. Where did you move to after you left Austin?
I was working for Dell while I was living in the Rio Grande Valley.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So while you were with Dell, you relocated to the Rio Grande Valley, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And you were a regional sales account person for the Rio Grande Valley area. Is that right?
For who?
For Dell.
No. No, I was a regional account manager for Dell Latin America.
Okay. What was your territory?
Mexico to Argentina.
Okay. That involved travel down to those areas?
Quite extensively.
Okay. How much were you traveling per year? Do you have any recollection?
Anywhere between 3 and 4 weeks a month.
Okay. And what were the years that you had that job and those travel requirements?
Again, it was towards the latter part of my time with Dell. I don't know exactly.
Okay. We think your time at Dell ended around 2003, 2004. Is that right?
That's what I'm estimating.
Okay. And then you went to work for this company based in Montreal for about a year, correct?
That's to my recollection, yes.
At that time, for that company, did you office primarily in the Rio Grande Valley?
Yes.
Did you travel regularly to Montreal?
I went a few times. I went up. They had training when we first started, and I think I went another time, but I can't recall.
Okay. Was that a sales type job as well?
It was sales and operations.
Okay. What type of operations were you looking over at that job?
There was a program called First, I think, or FIFO, first in, first out. It dealt with
Inventory management?
yeah, it dealt with inventory management and assisting replenishment through electrical components for manufacturing facilities and analyzing the total cost of ownership for that and assisting in reducing costs.
Okay. And then that job, and forgive me, I've forgotten what the name of the company you said. but the Canadian company. What did you leave that job to go do?
That job, from there I went to another electronics company called America 2, based in Florida.
Okay. What was your position with America 2?
Sales and operations.
Okay. What was there? What kind of business was America 2 in?
It was, again, an electronic
Manufacturing company?
sales company. No,
Okay.
all sales, just selling electronic components to manufacturers.
Gotcha. And how long did the job with America 2 last?
Not that long. I'd say maybe 4 or 5 months. I'm not sure.
Does that get us up to maybe 2005 then, do you think?
Oh, no. I actually, I don't know, to be honest with you.
Okay. You don't remember exactly what year it was when you left this America 2 job, but it lasted 6 months, 5 months. Is that fair?
I would think so, yes.
What was the next job that you had following America 2?
The next job I had, I was hired for a company, and I forget the name, to work with General Motors, and it was an electrical components sales company as well. And my main function was to work with GM.
Okay. Was that job based in the Rio Grande Valley?
I was living in the Rio Grande Valley, yes, but I had to travel up to various locations in the United States to meet with individuals that were in manufacturing with General Motors.
Okay. Do you remember the year or years that you held this job for the electronics company supplying parts to GM?
No.
Okay. Do you know when that ended?
No.
Okay. What job did you take after that job?
Then I started my own business.
Okay. What year was that?
I started a company actually during the time I was working, and that company was really just a side company, repaired computers and sold computers and those types of things. So when I stopped working for that last company, I did that full time.
Okay. The company that was the computer repair company that you started, what was that called?
MD International. MDI.
Okay. And when did you start that?
In 2002, 2003.
Okay. While you were at Dell?
I believe so.
Okay. And that was a computer repair facility or store or something of that nature?
Just offering some computer repairs at the time.
Okay. Did you have a storefront or anything, or was this you bring it to me?
Not when I started, no.
Okay. Were you doing the work yourself, or did you have employees?
No, I did it. I mean, it was relatively things that I considered simple at the time, like changing a hard drive or something with hardware.
Gotcha. Did MDI end up ever having employees in addition to yourself?
Once we moved from into a facility, we did have employees, yes.
Okay. What was the date where you went from having MDI as a side business and keeping these other jobs to going full time with MDI? When did that happen?
I don't recall.
Okay. would have been later than 2005.
I don't know. I don't remember.
Is MDI organized as a C corp or an LLC, or do you know?
It's an LLC.
Okay. In Texas?
That's correct.
Were you the sole owner of MDI?
No, I'm 50% owner.
Who owns the other 50%?
My wife, Sonia.
Okay. So we've been talking about your employment history, kind of leaving high school in Houston we've gotten through somewhere in the mid 2000s. At some point you got married, correct?
That's correct.
This is the worst question I can ask to any opponent when their wife is in the room. When was that?
June 24th, 2000.
Very good.
Did I get it right?
I've gotten a lot of witnesses in trouble with that question over the years.
Yeah, I imagine you would.
So you've passed with flying colors for today, sir. Good job. Where were you living when you got married? Was that in Austin or was that down in the Rio Grande Valley?
No, I was down in the valley when we got married. I'd moved. I was working for Dell.
Okay. And you have been married just one time, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And your wife is Sonia Galvan.
Yes.
Okay. Is she from the Rio Grande Valley area herself?
I believe she's lived in the Rio Grande Valley for the majority of her life, but I also know that she lived in Houston as well.
Okay. Do you have any other than you have, how many children do y'all have?
We have 3 children.
Okay. Give me their names and ages right quick.
Eliana Galvan is 15. Elijah Galvan is 14. And Esteban with a B is 8.
Okay. Other than your wife and your children, do you have any relatives in the Rio Grande, in Cameron County specifically?
I have my wife. I'm sorry, my parents are here. And,
What is their name? What are their names?
David Galvan and Cynthia Galvan.
I didn't mean to cut you off. I just wanted to make sure I remembered to ask their names. I apologize. What other relatives do you have that live in Cameron County?
I have uncles and aunts and some cousins.
Okay.
And then my wife's family. But other than that, that's all.
Okay. I'm not going to ask you for an exhaustive list of every cousin, uncle, and aunt that you have in Cameron County, and that might be very hard to do anyways. But in general, can you give me the last names of your relatives that you can recall that live in Cameron County?
Galvan. Marin, M-A-R-I-N. That's about it, I think.
Thank you. All right. We were talking about MDI. Is it MDI International or is MD International?
MD International. But
Okay. I'll call it MDI and you understand what I'm talking about. Correct?
okay.
Has that company always been owned 50% by you and 50% by your wife, Sonia?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have a company agreement that you know of for that entity?
What do you mean by company agreement?
Do you have a written agreement entitled company agreement that lays out the rules for operating that company?
Objection form. Go ahead and answer.
I don't know.
Okay. Do you keep, is MDI still in business?
it's still an active company, but it's not in business.
But it's maintained as an active entity with the Texas Secretary of State?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Does MDI have officers or members?
I don't recall.
Okay. Do you keep a set of written corporate books for MDI?
I don't know.
Who would know?
I don't know.
Okay. Does MDI currently have any employees?
No.
Since it's not actively in business, have you received any compensation from MDI in the last 2 years?
What do you mean by compensation? And talking about paycheck?
Has MDI LLC made any distributions to you as an owner of the company?
Yes, I believe so. I can't answer. I don't know if I understand the question.
Okay. The question I'm asking is that you said that MDI was no longer in business, and so I asked you, since it was no longer in business. Well, let me ask you this question: when did MDI quit actively operating as a business?
So all MDI does now is it owns a building, and that building is being rented. That's it.
I got you. All right, that helps.
Okay.
I got you. What's the address of MDI's building?
It's 311D Vogel, Vogel Drive, Mercedes, Texas 78570.
Is that the building you're in today?
No, sir.
Okay. All right. Other than that building with the address you just identified, as MDI on any other property of any significance?
No, sir.
Okay. So if you've received distributions as an owner of MDI, it would just be rental income from the real property?
That's correct.
Okay. How long did MDI operate as a computer repair business?
I don't know. Maybe till 2008 or so, or 9.
Did it ever have a physical storefront location or physical space where people brought things to you?
Yes, it did. It was in, I think we started in Harlingen. And then, did we start? I don't remember. Not sure if we started in Harlingen or started in LaFeria.
Did it end up being in that building on Vogel Street that you just talked about?
No, sir. MDI doesn't, it owns it, but there's no operations again, remember? So, yeah.
Did MDI ever have operations in that Vogel building?
No.
Okay. All right. You've owned some other businesses between, well, let me ask you this way, strike that. While you were still employed for Dell and the other companies subsequent to Dell that you were testifying about earlier, did you have any other side businesses that you formed other than MDI?
No.
Okay. At some point you formed some other business startups, correct?
Correct.
All right. What was the first one you formed after MDI?
Orbit Broadband.
And what type of business was Orbit Broadband?
It was an internet service provider.
Okay. And where was that based in the Rio Grande Valley?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And were you were you and your wife the sole owners of Orbit Broadband?
Yes.
Was it 50% each as well?
Yes.
Okay. When was Orbit Broadband founded?
2008.
Okay. And is Orbit Broadband still in existence with the Texas Secretary of State's office?
No, it is not.
All right. When did you wrap up Orbit Broadband as a corporate entity?
I think in 2014 or 13 or 15. I don't remember.
That's fine.
15, 16.
One, somewhere in there, somewhere in the mid 2000s. Why did you shutter Orbit Broadband?
I changed it to G5 internet services. Really just, it was thought that broadband sounded slow. And so, so we changed it. It was changed to G5. And that was really it, just kind of a marketing deal.
Okay. Fair to say then Orbit Broadband is turned into G5 just in layman's terms?
I would think so, yes.
Okay. Whatever assets and operations you had from Orbit at some point became the operations and assets of G5, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Do you know if you did any formal buy-sell agreement or asset transfer agreement to make that happen?
I don't recall.
Okay. Did you use a lawyer to affect that transaction, or did you do it yourself?
I don't recall.
Okay. Now, I believe you have, okay, from the time that you had MDI until you formed Orbit Broadband in 2008, and that went to somewhere in the mid 2000s, correct? I mean, mid-teens, 2013 to 16, correct?
To the best of my recollection.
Okay. During that time period, did you have any other businesses that you started?
Not during that time period.
Okay. You also have a business now called G5 Streaming, is that right?
That's correct.
When did that start?
Mm-hmm. 2018 or 19, 18, roughly around there.
And I'm looking at a discovery response that you sent over to my office yesterday. Are you the 100% owner of G5 Internet Streaming?
G5 Streaming Internet, yes.
Okay. And G5 Internet, you own 50%. Is that also owned 50-50 with your wife, Sonia?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Going back to MDI, did MDI ever have any written policies and procedures manuals?
Not that I can recall.
Did it ever, did you keep, well, let me strike that. What employment records did you keep with MDI?
I don't have any employment records.
Okay. Did you ever keep any employment records with MDI?
I don't have any employment records.
Okay, I appreciate that. To be clear here, did you ever keep any employment records for MDI?
I don't recall.
Okay. How many employees did MDI have at the most?
I don't recall.
Okay. Did you ever have any W-2 employees that were you reported as a W-2?
Again, I don't recall.
Okay. Did you have independent contractors that worked for MDI?
I don't recall.
Okay. How many employees does G5 Internet Services have?
None.
Okay. How many has G5 Internet Services ever had any employees?
It did.
Okay. How many employees has G5 Internet Services had since 2015 or thereabouts when it was started?
I don't know.
Do you remember any of their names?
Yes, I do.
What are the names that you remember?
Ricardo Gonzalez, Johnny Cerda, myself, my wife, Sonia. That's all I can remember.
Okay. Did you take a salary from G5 Internet Services?
I did.
Okay. Did your wife Sonia take a salary from G5 Internet Services?
I believe so. I'm not sure.
Does G5 Streaming have any employees?
Yes, it does.
How many employees does it have?
8.
Okay. Does G5 Streaming keep the same physical offices as G5 Internet Services?
No, G5 Internet Services doesn't have an office.
Okay. Does G5 Internet Services have a business office?
Can you explain what a business office is compared
Sure.
to?
Does G5 Internet Services have any physical office where its business is conducted?
Oh yeah, it's got an office in there at 311D Vogel Drive. It has about 1,000 square feet.
Gotcha. And that's the building that's still owned by MD International, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And G5 Streaming, where is its offices? Where are its offices?
Right now, it's at all the employees' home.
Fair enough. We're all doing a bit of that. Before this malady affected us all, where was G5 Streaming's offices?
At 222 East Van Buren, Harlingen, Texas, Suite 502.
And that's where you are today, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. For G5 Internet Services, did G5 Internet Services ever keep any written policies or procedures manuals?
I don't recall.
Any employment manuals?
Again, I don't recall.
Is there anybody that would know other than yourself?
No.
Okay. With respect to G5 Streaming, does G5 Streaming keep any written policies and procedures manuals?
I don't recall.
Okay. Would anybody else know for G5 Streaming?
Not that I know of.
Okay. Do you keep a set of corporate books for G5 Internet Services?
I don't know. I don't recall.
Okay. The G5 Internet Services, does it have a company agreement?
Can you explain what a company agreement is, please?
Sure. It's often called an operating agreement. It lays out the ownership, voting, notice to members, meetings, all the corporate formalities and how they should occur. Does G5 Internet have anything like that?
I don't know.
Is there anybody else that would know?
Not that I know of.
Okay. Does G5 Streaming have keep any corporate books?
I think I've already answered that question. But no, I don't know.
Okay. do you retain third-party accounting services for G5 internet services?
No,
Who does the accounting for G5 internet services?
G5 internet services, like billing,
Oh,
account,
who maintains your accounting records for G5 internet services?
is accounting finance?
Sure.
Okay. Sonia,
That's your wife?
that's correct.
Does she also do the books for G5 streaming?
That's correct.
Okay. For those two entities, do you have a third party prepare your taxes for those entities?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Who is that?
His name's Chris Villarreal.
I'm sorry, Chris who?
Chris Villarreal.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for giving me what I would consider the West Texas pronunciation of that name. Okay. Where does he office? In Harlingen?
That's correct.
Okay. Does he also do your taxes, your individual taxes?
Yes.
Okay. Do G5 internet services and G5 streaming maintain separate operating bank accounts?
Yes.
Okay. How about MDI? Does it have a separate bank account?
Yes.
Where do you bank for those businesses?
They're all three at Frost Bank.
Very good. All right. Second. All right. Mr. Galvan, with respect to G5 internet services, were you the person, to the extent that it had employees, were you the person that hired and or fired those employees?
There was multiple people that had that responsibility.
Okay. Do you remember who else had that responsibility for G5 internet services?
People that, if finance manager would hire and fire. There's office manager position, I believe. There's tech support supervisor.
Who was the finance manager?
We had, who is it now? Is Sonia.
Well, okay. Was there, back at the time that G5 internet services had employees, who was the finance manager?
I don't recall.
Okay. Who was the office manager at that time?
I don't recall.
Okay. With respect to G5 streaming, who has the ability to hire and fire employees?
Same individuals.
Okay. Do you remember their names?
Myself, Sonia Galvan, Johnny Cerda, Ricardo Gonzalez.
Thank you. With respect to MDI, to the extent it had employees at some time, were you the person that hired and fired those employees?
I don't recall.
Do you know of anybody else that would have had authority for MDI to hire and fire?
I do not.
Okay. All right. All right. I don't think I ever got your personal address, Mr. Galvan. Could you give that to me, please?
15251 Sparrow Road, Harlingen, Texas. 78552 is our mailing address.
Thank you. How long have you lived at that address?
Since 2002.
Okay. Is that the only address you've ever lived at since you moved to the Rio Grande Valley?
In the Rio Grande Valley, yes. Oh, no, it's not. Before that, I lived at a house that I was renting while I was working for Dell. And if you asked me the address, I couldn't tell you.
That's fine. I understand. You remember what street it was on?
No.
Okay. Have you ever lived on a street called Villa Verde in Brownsville, Texas?
No.
Okay.
Did I think I've ever gone?
I think there's another Richard Galvan in Cameron County, and that's why I wanted to kind of clarify that we were talking about you and not somebody else. Thank you. Okay. Mr. Galvan, other than your businesses that you maintain in the Rio Grande Valley, do you hold any positions with any civic or volunteer groups in the Rio Grande Valley?
No, I do not.
Have you in the past?
I have.
What positions have you held?
I was a board member for Harlingen Country Club. I was a board member for Fellowship of Christian Athletes. And I was a board member for the Economic Development Corporation in Mercedes, Texas.
Have you held any board positions for any entities where you have to run for election, like a school board or city council or anything like that?
No.
Okay. Any neighborhood association boards?
No.
Okay. What church do you attend?
Living Way Family Church in Harlingen.
Okay. And how long have you attended that church?
It's 2017,
Okay.
roughly.
Okay. As a matter of background, what would you consider your religious affiliation to be?
Objection form.
Non-denominational?
Okay. Did you grow up in a particular denomination when you were younger?
No, not really.
Okay. How long have you been members at Living Way? You've been members since 2017.
That's correct.
Where did you attend church prior to that?
Oh, we were at Church of the Living Word. We went to Valley International Christian Church. And Northway Bible Church. And attended some services at some other churches like Lifeline, Pave the Way Ministries.
Okay. One of those churches you just, in your answer, was Church of the something, and you were going too fast for me to write it down. What was that one called?
Church of the Living Word.
Okay, thank you. Okay. With respect to the Living Way Church, do you have any positions that you volunteer and do at the Living Way Church?
Objection form.
No.
Okay. Have you ever held any positions with the Living Way Church?
I believe it was Living Word as opposed to Living
Oh,
Word.
thank you. Thank you for the clarification. Is it Living Word or Living Way, Mr. Galvan?
Where we're attending now,
Yes,
it's Living Way.
Living Way. Okay. With respect to the Living Way where you attend now, have you ever held any positions within the church?
No.
Okay. Have you ever taught Sunday school?
No.
Have you led a youth group?
No.
Okay. With respect to Church of the Living Word, Did you hold any positions within that church?
No,
And did you teach Sunday school there?
no,
Did you have any positions with the youth group at that church?
no,
Okay. With respect to Valley International Church, did you hold any positions with that church?
no,
Did you teach Sunday school or Bible school or anything like that there?
no,
Okay. With respect to Northway Bible Church, did you hold any positions within that church?
no,
Did you teach Sunday school at that church?
no.
Did you maintain any volunteer positions with that church?
We assisted with mission trips. We assisted with Vacation Bible School and some other church activities.
Do you remember any of the other church activities that you assisted with at Northway Bible Church other than the youth group, mission trips, and Bible school?
Objection form.
I said we assisted with church mission trips. We assisted with Vacation Bible School and other church activities.
Okay. Were you ever an elder, deacon, board member, or anything of any similar title with Northway Bible Church?
No,
What years did you assist with the youth group at Northway Bible
Objection
Church?
form.
I assisted with church trips, Vacation Bible School, and other church activities.
Did you assist with the youth group?
Youth were involved in those activities.
Okay. Did Northway Bible Church, what years were you at Northway Bible Church?
Oh, from 2002 to off and on to about 2015 or 16.
Did Northway Bible Church have a formal youth group?
Yes,
Did you conduct meetings for that youth group?
we conducted mission trips that involved the youth and also adults. And we would do these basically from January to the summer in guidance with the missionaries that were there at the church and the pastors, Pastor Kelly.
Objection form.
Could you give me Pastor Kelly's full name?
Kelly Rumfield.
Okay. Was Pastor Kelly Rumsfield, was he the pastor the entire time you were at Northway Bible Church?
That's correct.
Okay. Was there a youth pastor at Northway Bible Church?
I don't believe there was.
Were there any assistant pastors at Northway Bible Church?
I don't believe anybody had that title.
Okay. And did the church have a church secretary or any staff to your knowledge?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. With respect to Vacation Bible School activities while you were a member at Northway Bible Church, did you teach Vacation Bible School?
There was volunteer opportunities to assist with snacks or arts and crafts or a skit. So we would volunteer, my wife and I and kids, to do certain things.
Okay. Was that every year or just as needed some of the time, or how would you characterize it?
If we wanted to volunteer, we would. That's what we did. We would volunteer for things.
Okay. With respect to Sunday school, did you teach Sunday school at Northway Bible Church?
I don't believe there was oh, no. There was a kids thing, school or that on Sunday, but no, I did not.
Okay, that was, if somebody was teaching Sunday school there or something, what we would normally think of as Sunday school kids activity, you weren't teaching that.
That's correct.
Okay. How many mission trips did you go on while you were involved or a member of Northway Bible Church?
I went on 4 of them.
Okay. Do you remember what years those occurred in?
To the best of my recollection, it was in 2004, 2006, 2007, and 2008.
2008 being the last time you did that for Northway Bible Church?
That's to the best of my recollection.
Okay. With respect to that mission activity at Northway Bible Church, who did you report to at the church?
The pastor had full authority of the church.
Was there a church board?
I don't know if there's a church board.
Okay. You just reported to the pastor, correct?
I didn't report to anybody. I was just a volunteer.
Okay. For the mission trips you talked about from 04 to 08, did you raise money out in the community before you went on those trips?
Yeah, that was a big part of it, was just raising money.
Just give me an overview of how that would work on any given year for the mission trips.
So
Collection form.
I don't recall a lot of that, but it was brought about to where the cost for the trip was the #1 concern.
So primarily you were trying to raise money to take all the people down to wherever you were going on your mission trip. And you were trying to raise funds in your community to pay for everybody's way and there and back. Is that right?
Well, everybody was trying to raise funds, not just myself.
But the group did it. You did it as a group though, correct? It wasn't just every man for himself.
Oh no, they would go out and, people would go out and raise funds themselves as well.
Okay. Did you oversee group fundraising activities?
I didn't. No, I was just there to assist with the coordination of the trip.
Okay, so you didn't oversee any group activities to raise funds for these mission trips?
No, we had some. No, we did not.
Okay. Do you know of anybody that did that for the church?
No.
Okay. Any of the fundraising you did for the mission trips for the church, did you keep the funds for yourself in a bank account, or did you give them to the church to keep?
All funds went to the church.
Okay. You'd hand it over to Pastor Rumsfeld, then I take it?
Whoever had raised funds that would pass it over.
Okay. You didn't take any salary or other compensation for your activities with Northway Bible Church. Is that correct, sir?
We were volunteers.
Okay. All right. Mr. Galvan, we've been going about 1 hour and 10 minutes. We'll take about a 5-minute break, let you stretch your legs, and we'll come back. Okay?
Thank you.
You're off the record.